It's game time. Welcome to another episode of Game Time. I am here in Hobbs, New Mexico, inside their beautiful indoor facility. We are here with the Hobbs boys soccer team and head coach Jose Mares. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You're off to a good start this year, ranked in the top 10, picking up some quality wins. Did you expect that out of this team at this point in the season?
You know, we've been working hard past years this season, and I mean, we've been consistent. So yes, I expect a lot from this boys. So
consistency is a good word to describe your program. Yes. You reached the quarterfinals last year. You were a number 2 seed. You kind of have a history of reaching the quarters and the semis at the state tournament. What's it going to take to get back there again this year?
You know, I think just executing this last 6-7 games that we have left, and being ready for what's coming next.
How have you been getting your production this year? Who have you been getting goals from?
We have Keen, that's one of the top scorers from Keen Hartman. He's behind me. He's one of the top scorers in 5A. So we have a bunch of guys that have, you know, 2 or 3 goals here and there and assists. So it's more of a team effort that's getting us there.
Well, speaking of standouts, just up the road from Hobbs, a famous alumni was being honored at his high school. A Hall of Famer, Brian Urlacher, was being recognized at Lovington High School, and we had a chance to talk with the Hall of Famer. It was bear hugs all around for the former Chicago linebacker as Lovington High School welcomed back their Hall of Famer. Brian Urlacher was back in school for a day. Urlacher is the school's biggest alumni in more ways than one. The Hall of Fame football player was honored at a pep rally, and he had a chance to reflect on his high school playing days.
I remember winning a state championship in '95. That's my fondest memory. Broke my wrist in the year before in our second district game against Portales. I broke my wrist on this field on a kickoff. I missed the next 2 games, but then we ended up losing the state championship to Artesia. The stuff I remember is dumb, by the way. But just we always had such great fan support every game. I mean, this stadium is big. I feel like for a 3A stadium, it was big when I played. And I feel like every game it was sold out. You know, we have great support from our fans here. And on Friday nights, there's nothing else to do when I played. You came here and you watched the games. I mean, our whole student section was here. Everyone in the high school came out here. Just great support.
The school also named their football field in honor of the former pro player who gives back so much to his school.
It's awesome, you know, being from here and playing all my high school games here on this field, in this stadium, in front of most of these fans here that were still here when I was in high school is pretty awesome, you know, and get a chance to watch our team play. It's just cool. I always love coming back. I never get a chance to come back here as much as I want to, so any chance I get is always awesome to get back here.
Coming from a small town in New Mexico, Urlacher has a good perspective on the importance of education-based athletics.
I think parents have a misconception that their kids are going to go professional at a sport that they're good at when they're young, and I think it's kind of misleading, honestly. I think the more sports you can play, the more athletic you can be, I think the more it's going to help you at any sport you do. It definitely helped me when I was a kid. You know, I did everything, and we were pushed to do a lot of different things because there wasn't as much specialization back then.
He is the consummate high school football player. He really is. He exemplifies everything you want in a high school football player. Great teammate, worked hard in the classroom, just a model student, and you know, he would be what you would model a high school football player to be like. He was just so dedicated to what he did, sacrificed, and was a great team leader. Urlacher is now retired from football and a parent with kids who participate in sports. Brian encourages other parents to support their kids in a positive way.
I'm not a screamer. I'm not a yell at the other team. I'm not a yell at the ref guy because it's not going to do any good. It's not going to help your kid play. It's not going to help the situation any better. But yeah, I've seen some parents at some of these games just it's scary. You know, I just don't think there's no place for it. And they're not out there playing. It mainly embarrasses their kids is what it does. And I never want to put my kid in that position. So I try and keep my mouth shut as much as I can at their games and just enjoy it and watch them.
Lovington, New Mexico has a street that bears his name, an indoor facility he helped build, and now a football field in a town that will forever remember Brian Urlacher.
What time is it? Game time!
It is game time. Welcome back to Game Time. We're here with the Hobbs boys soccer team and head coach Jose Mares. When you think Hobbs High School, most people think basketball and a run and gun style of offense. What's the Hobbs soccer style of play?
You know, we pressure a lot. We use a lot, you know, the outsides. We counterattack a lot. So a lot of speed is it's implementing our style of game. a lot of hustle as well. So
I mentioned earlier you were the number 2 seed last year. What kind of seed are you expecting or hoping for come this tournament?
hopefully in the top 8, so we can host a playoff time. As you see, we have a beautiful stadium. It would be nice for us to have our first round here at home.
You have a wonderful facility, and a lot of times you have to travel quite a distance because of geographically where you're located in Hobbs. What are the pros and cons of kind of where you're located here in the southern corner of the state?
Traveling, it gets a little old, but the boys are used to getting on the road and getting off the bus and competing. There's times that within 2 weeks we travel, 40 hours. We've been to Albuquerque and back twice already, to Cruces and back, to Chaparral and back. So I think, just also without, not the pressure of playing at home, being on the road, relaxing a little bit, and then getting ready to compete. So.
All right, is this a year you get to state again, maybe get a little bit further?
We were hoping. We're hoping.
All right. Well, good luck. Thanks for joining us, guys. Good luck the rest of the season. We'll be back with more Game Time after this.
I thought I was pretty tough until I became a father.
Oh, I hate those things.
What do you mean you hate
Real toughness is knowing when you need help.
We've all been there. Fried nerves, no sleep. None of us do it alone. If you need help, you've got to ask for it.
We need to fight for our kids' futures. It's up to all of us to make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Connect with resources and support at pulltogether.org.
Are you living the life of an athlete? The New Mexico Activities Association brings you Life of an Athlete, a resource for students, educators, and parents to understand the challenges students face. Athletes, did you know one night of drinking will negatively affect your athletic performance for 2 weeks? Or that athletes who drink and do drugs are twice as likely to get injured? Alcohol's effects can reduce a high school athlete's potential by as much as 20 to 30%. Are you living the life of an athlete? Log on to lifeofanathlete.com to find out today. Welcome back to Game Time. Brian Urlacher returning to his alma mater was definitely one of the highlights of the week for high school sports in New Mexico, but the Goddard Rockets spoiled Lovington's party Friday night. Here's a look back at some of the standout performances this past week in high school football. While the night belonged to Lovington star and Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher, it was Goddard who controlled the action on the newly named Brian Urlacher Field. A short yardage play turned into the first score of the game as Robert Aragon stayed on his feet and went 54 yards for the score. Goddard took a 14-0 lead and never looked back. The Rockets spoil the Brian Urlacher celebration with a 49-7 win over Lovington. Artesia sure does know how to put up some points. They had 48 by halftime this week as the Bulldogs beat Ruidoso 73-46. Artesia has scored 132 points in their last 2 games. No doubt they won't light it up this week. The Bulldogs have a bye. Don't look now, but Rio Rancho is on a roll. The Rams had no trouble with Cibola, beating the Cougars 48-13. Zach Vigil with a couple of scores on the game. Since dropping their first 2 games of the year, Rio Rancho has beaten Clovis, Las Cruces, La Cueva, and Cibola. Las Cruces handed Centennial their first loss of the year. The Bulldogs beat their crosstown opponent 35-18. Running back Johnny Terrazas had 3 scores on the game. Las Cruces improves to 5-2 on the year, and they are unbeaten in 3 district games. They have a bye this week. La Cueva's defense came up big against Manzano. The Bears held the Monarchs to just over 150 yards of offense, and they forced 3 turnovers. Dawson Burton had 2 of them. Burton returned this fumble for a score. The defending state champs posted a shutout for the second straight week, 38-0.
Gadsden was excited about their newly renovated field, but Carlsbad controlled the game. Nate Nahar with a couple short scores as Carlsbad picked up a 42-6 road win. Alamogordo jumped on Chaparral in the first half of their game. The Tigers built up a 35-7 halftime lead and beat Chaparral 59-7. Alamogordo is at Los Lunas this week. Capital hosted Portales, and the Rams had some big plays up their sleeve. Kellen Hightower provided one of the biggest of the night. He went 91 yards on the opening kickoff of the third quarter. They never looked back after that and held on for the 35-26 win. Portales is now 5-1 on the year. Don't sleep on Tularosa. The Wildcats are now 5-1 after their shutout win over Hatch Valley. Tularosa racked up over 250 yards rushing in their 21-0 win. They have a bye before starting district against Tucumcari. The Deming Wildcats jumped out to a 22-0 lead in the first quarter and never looked back against Belen. Deming with a 34-14 victory at home. Deming has a bye this week before facing district rival Santa Teresa. Clovis is back to playing New Mexico schools after a serving of Texas teams for a couple weeks. The Wildcats shut out Sandia 50-0. The Wildcats scored on a variety of ways. 4 times on the ground, 2 in the air. Clovis will host Manzano this week. The Aztec Tigers handled Santa Fe at home 35-6. Freshman quarterback Marquise Henry had 3 touchdown passes in this one. Aztec improves to 6-1 on the season. Hobbs and Oñate came into their matchup both winless, but both put up some points on Saturday afternoon in Las Cruces. A 20-point fourth quarter by Hobbs was the difference maker in this one as the Eagles got win number 1 on the season, 42-28. A couple running backs put up big numbers this week. Grant's running back, Isaiah Johnson, took the Taos Tigers by storm. Johnson rushed for 338 yards on just 15 carries. He scored 5 times as Grants beat the defending state champs 49-19. And check out what Del Norte running back Isaiah Ortiz pulled off. He rushed for 362 yards against Valley. He also had a kick return for 75 yards as the Knights beat the Vikings 42-6.
7 weeks of football are in the books. Here's a look at some key matchups for Week 8. The Centennial Hawks try to bounce back from last week's loss in a matchup with Mayfield this week. Rivals El Dorado and La Cueva square off. The Eagles are coming off a bye week. Fort Sumner and Santa Rosa should be a good one. Unbeaten Manal heads to Mountain Air this week. Roswell and Piedra Vista only have 1 loss between them. Santa Teresa hasn't lost yet, but they will be tested this week against Goddard. If you haven't noticed, we like to cover a variety of sports on Game Time. This fall, we've gotten our share of football, we've sent some soccer your way, gone down the road for some cross country, and set you up with some volleyball. The state volleyball tournament will be here in about a month. And last year, Dulce High School did something they've never done before. This year, they hope to do it again and maybe accomplish something even better.
In 2018, the Dulce volleyball program made school history, reaching the state final for the first time ever.
We still have that dream to get into that championship game this year, and the dream is to win it, not come in second.
Dulce lost to eventual state champ Texaco, but the Hawks returned virtually everyone from last year's runner-up team.
We're kind of small, but we're strong. When we're all doing our job on the court, we're pretty special.
Dulce is having a great season, and the experience of last year's state tournament should help them this time around.
It showed us what to expect. Seeing the teams that how hard they work just to get there. We're capable of doing the same as them.
We have experience, so we know what to expect now. So we won't be so nervous, or we'll be ready.
They actually feel how it is to win and to feel the praise and the love and just the support that our community has been giving them since end of last season.
Kathleen Salazar Valdez is in her 17th year as head coach. She describes this team as smart and quick with some power. And that's where senior middle hitter Caitlin Duncan comes in.
She has so much hang time that she could look everywhere on the court before she could make the choice of what she wants to do. When we travel, young ladies seek her out, so it's just awesome to see that, they're more role models now, and it's great that little girls come up and ask for autographs or just ask to hold her towel. It's just so cute, and it's something I wanted for my program, more role models and supporting the youth.
Could this be the year for Dulce? What would it mean to finally lift that blue trophy?
That would be something. Be the first ever to do it. That'd be literally a dream come true.
If these girls go and play and bring that blue trophy back, it'll mean everything. I may even resign. End on a high note.
That's going to do it for this edition of Game Time. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tell your friends, neighbors, relatives, and pets to watch Game Time. That's right, we welcome everybody. We air the show live Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. We will send you out, as we do each week, with a silly meme to put a smile on your face. We'll see you next week on Game Time.